Hello there, welcome back to Road to Smarkdom. We're on the road. It's episode 6, I believe. 5 or 6, whatever, doesn't matter. But today, we had to change up plans. I know at the end of the last episode, I assigned him Jack Gallagher versus Nell for the Cruiserweight Championship. I watched that match. It's not worth saying I'm watching. I really like the match. But you really have to be, it's character driven, not like mood driven, I feel. So you wouldn't really like it as much as I did. So anyway, we changed it midway through the week. I gave him, my eyes, pretty good match, pretty good. It's a 6-man tag match. The SuperKliq, so yeah, tag in quotation marks. The SuperKliq versus Ricochet, Sydal, and Ospreay. It happened at PWG, day 2 of Battle of Los Angeles. So yeah, let's just get right into it. What were your thoughts on this match?
Okay, so I know right before we started rolling, it sounded like I didn't like this match.
Yeah.
But it's not that I didn't like it, it's that it was just really weird. I mean, it was a good match, but it was very different from what I'm used to. It was in a smaller gym.
Yeah, it's like a veterans hall or something.
It was a lot more personal.
Yeah.
There were a lot of flips. Most of them were not necessary, but enjoyable to watch. They did not really tag out all that often. There were a lot of times where it was just the three of them flipping around each other. A couple of times they would, like three people would be out of the ring, and then the other three would jump out at them through the
Yeah.
They did a lot of 3 people moves. Sometimes it was 3-on-1. The ending was like a triple. They all did the same thing on the 3 that were
the shooting star press.
Shooting star press. And when the match first started, like 3 minutes into the thing after the introductions, people were doing flips and posing at the end of every flip, every roll. I thought this was the Ginyu Force. This is what the Ginyu Force would be if the Ginyu Force were real. And I'm okay with that. It was just so weird, man.
Yeah, it's a whole different world in this scene, because WWE likes to simulate it as a sport most of the time, and the other big promotion, New Japan, is mostly presented, especially in Japan, as an athletic affair. We all know like it's scripted or whatever, but that's the way it's presented. But here, like in PWG and most places in the lower independent scene, they show it off. They just have fun with it. Tongue firmly planted in cheek. There's multiple references to other wrestling matches, which I thought was cool. It's basically I don't know what you compare it to. It's kind of like it doesn't matter. Like this is some type of April Fool's joke or Halloween episode of a show. It doesn't really matter. We're all just having fun here. The introduction. I'll start from there though. Do you have any questions about the introduction of who the characters are going in? Like anything that was curious about it?
No, it took me a while to keep like names to faces, because with John Cena, CM Punk, Undertaker, I knew exactly who everyone was because they're just that recognizable. Even for somebody who's only like tangentially into wrestling through friends and stuff, I was able to keep up with it. But here it took me a while to keep it all straight.
Do you know the difference between Matt and Nick Jackson?
No.
Yeah, I still don't know. Just call them both the Young Bucks. That's all that matters. Adam Cole, they kept making fun of like that he was fat, even though he wasn't. Did you notice that?
They looked in shape.
Yeah.
What was his name? Adam Cole.
Baby.
He looked kind of like he had a dad bod. He like a semi-fit dad bod. Like he wasn't ripped. Didn't have a 6-pack. But he was flat. Like he wasn't rotund. It was just a little bit of give, a little bit of flab, but not like he wasn't obese or even overweight.
He was a natural human being, a realistic human being, fighting, kind of like a teenager actually. But a lot of people like Adam Cole. Like they all like, oh, I want to come to WWE. I can't wait until his contract is up with the other company. I'm like, it's not really that special. I mean, I watch a lot of his matches. I'm like, yeah, he's a good wrestler, but I can name 10 people easily that I'd rather see that's not WWE and WWE over him. I'm not gonna do that because that's not necessary. But
it's a story for another day.
yeah, story for another day. Maybe a top 10 list somewhere down the line. Maybe in 2027. The other tag team though started with a Ricochet. What do you think about him?
He was the African American.
You can call him
ish.
that.
He was the darker skinned one.
Brown.
He was brown.
Negro.
I didn't want to say that. He was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He was taking a lot of punishment early on.
Yeah.
Or a lot of punishment. I don't really think these guys. I mean, they hit hard, of course.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like getting beat up by Brock Lesnar or Undertaker or even John Cena, probably. They weren't like heavy hitters. They were quick.
Yeah.
It was more about speed than power.
I like the. I mean, the only move that looked like really, really devastating is the power driver that they did, called the Meltzer drive, when they have one guy up in the in the power driver position, and the guy comes off, like he bounces off the real part of the top rope and comes slamming down to help him. That move looks good. Why is it not in 2K?
That would be fun to. That would be fun to see, but not to have done to you.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's a very high chance that your head's gonna slam into the mat. You're gonna be paralyzed. So.
Yeah.
That's just wrestling though. Will Ospreay, he's pretty interesting. They had Will Ospreay and Ricochet had a very flippy match.
Very flippy.
Before this one-on-one, and that was it was some shroud of anime. It was more anime than this is. It's more like way more cartoonish, and it blew up the internet.
Oh God.
It was very polarizing, and yeah, it was. I didn't have a problem with it because it was different tropes for different folks, but a lot of old school wrestling fans were like, this is bullshit. You're making it look fake and all that. Wrestling shouldn't look fake. I'm like, it should be entertaining.
This looked a lot more real though. Maybe it's just because it was like a lower production value.
I mean, because it was fast paced. It wasn't slow and clumsy.
Yeah, these hits.
80s wrestling.
They were going fast enough where I could not tell exactly when they pulled their punches and exactly when like they whiffed on purpose. Mm-hmm. However close they wanted it to cut, and maybe it's just because they were in like a VA hall or something.
Yeah.
But it just felt personal and real.
Yeah.
But the only other match I've seen like this was the Mike Levy.
Mike Levy? What the fuck? Who's Mike Levy?
He was maybe it was Matt Levy? Mike Levy. He was some like South Carolina guy that hyped himself up on like wrestling forums. And then he got invited to like something in Iowa, like it was like a backyard thing.
You saw it like on YouTube or something?
Yes.
I don't know.
You might want to look it up.
Right.
It was a very weird promotion, and he got assaulted. Like, he was beaten way outside of the bounds of a normal wrestling match.
Oh yeah, that happened sometimes.
There were actual criminal charges filed at one point.
I mean, that's nothing compared to the mass transit incident where the ECW. It was ECW house show, so it wasn't televised. But some people were able to record it, not on my phone or anything, because it happened like in 98, 99, something like that. So
got their good old camcorder.
Good old camcorder for home video. And if you brought your camcorder that day, you would have saw somebody almost get killed. Because ECW, every match is hardcore. So use whatever you want. But sometimes they use cheese graters, pizza cutters, other types of things like a slicer, I think.
Actual blades.
That's just sharp edges, fluorescent tube. That's actually a pretty popular match in some places. Fluorescent tube battles.
Oh no.
So like they're hitting each other with fluorescent tubes and it breaks and it goes into the crowd. Someone dies, but we'll handle that later. Type stuff. But anyway, that wasn't fluorescent tubes in this match. I don't think. Back in the day, you could watch the whole thing on Daily Motion or whatever. But they took it down since then, so you had to go find it deep in the deep web. But there is like minute clips of the kid bleeding heavily because this wrestler called New Jack. And New Jack is a very violent wrestler. I think he's ultra violent just to make up for the fact that maybe he's not that skilled. And the story of that match was somebody didn't show up, so they replaced the wrestler. And the kid, he was like 17, not legal age to be wrestling. He said, yeah, I'll just fill in. And he told the promoter that. And then the promoter told the wrestlers that yeah, this guy could wrestle, he got trained by this guy or whatever, and everything should be cool. But then the guy, the little kid, his name was... I don't know. His wrestling name was Mass Transit. We'll just call him that. Mass Transit. 400-pound fellow. Very, no muscle on this guy. Complete blob.
400 pounds of fat?
Yeah. He shouldn't be in the wrestling ring because he wasn't trained. He was just a fan.
He should be, like, in a hospital, probably.
Yeah. And when he was after this, so New Jack found out that this guy's in training because he doesn't know what he's doing, and he also sometimes when wrestlers bleed, sometimes it comes naturally. The intensity of the match, most of the time back in the day, they would cut themselves so blood would come out, and he asked for them to cut him, and like you never do that. You never ask somebody else to do your cutting for them. So he's like, yeah, this guy is not legit. I'm going to beat the shit out of him. Hard punches, beat him with chairs in the head, concussion causing kicks right in the head, and stabbing him.
If you think someone shouldn't be somewhere, you don't beat them to death to make sure they understand they shouldn't be there. You just take them out. You do one swift, you knock them out like quickly, and you just keep them out. Yeah. You don't continuously. You don't brutalize them.
I mean, yeah, what you're saying is what a logical person would do. But this guy, New Jack, he's a psychopath, as we say in the business. And and he got he went on trial for like attempted murder, or was it assault?
Assault, but, like aggravated assault, probably.
Yeah, something like that. And he got off because the kid lied. Because I mean, you can't lie about your age, and it's your fault that you're in this position, basically. And the dad was like, because 4 years later, the kid died from like complications with gastric bypass surgery, and the dad was like, the reason why he gained all this weight is because the shreds after that match were like, no, going in this match was already 400 pounds. His days was numbered if he wasn't losing weight.
Oh God, not gastric bypass.
Yeah, so bad situation. Back to this match though.
Yeah, back to the.
Sorry about that tangent there. But you have to know these things if you want to be an educated wrestling fan. You gotta know these things. Put everything in perspective. So
yeah, we both taught each other something new.
Yeah.
Violent today.
Yeah.
Ospreay, Matt Ospreay.
Which one?
He was
Will Ospreay or Matt Sydal?
Will Ospreay.
He's the one with aerial assassin on his butt.
He's the younger one.
Yeah, he's young 24 British guy.
Because they're the three of them were from like the same generation, I think they said, but there were 3 different parts of the same generation.
Yeah, one's 24, 28, and 31.
Yeah. That was Ospreay was interesting to watch. There were times when I could kind of tell that he was a bit younger, just because he seemed a bit more spry.
Yeah.
He was a bit more energetic. He had a pip in his step.
Did you remember the part when one of the young bucks was doing like the handspring cartwheels? He did like 3 times, and then he had Will Ospreay in the corner. The other 2 were holding him down, and he did all that theatrics just to scratch him on the back, like kind of hard. And then like Will Ospreay was like, oh God, oh shit, oh fuck. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. I remember when one of them was holding, I think it was Ospreay in a camel clutch.
Oh yeah.
And then like he gets out of it, and the two brothers kiss each other, and I'm like, well, that's.
We just saw incest in the ring. I remember that guy saying that.
Why would they even be like? I don't even know what they were trying to do.
The thing is that when Adam Cole has a guy in the camel clutch, they come by him and kiss Adam Cole on each cheek, because that's their thing. And then this time, you want the way, so they kiss each other. I don't know.
Okay, I mean, yeah, whatever floats your boat. That's not the only crime we saw in the ring tonight, though.
Yeah. What I remember when Will Ospreay intercepted one of the Young Bucks when he was going for the Meltzer driver. That was pretty cool.
Right.
And he jumped off the rope and caught him midair. That was cool. It was just a lot of. I mean, it didn't let up. I like that. I like when matches keep that frenetic pace, like the Brock Lesnar match, the triple threat match you watch. When this never stops. That's when it's at its best. It never stops. I never want to sit down and think what I'm actually watching. Think about what I'm watching. I want to think about it when it's done. Like, whoa, that was something. I'm exhausted from watching that. Yeah. But more thoughts. I need more.
This was something else. I mean, like you said, having 6 people that are already high energy.
Yeah.
And already.
Well, just 5 plus Adam Cole.
Yeah, 5 plus Adam Cole. They're all high energy and they're all incredibly athletic. Except for Adam Cole, apparently.
He's athletic, but he's just not on that level.
He's just not on that level. It's different than, like, you know, if you have, like, a Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, and Big Show. Like, if you have 6 of those type of people.
I love to see that match.
Because that could be a non-stop match, but it would be incredibly slow.
Incredibly slow.
But this was boom, boom, boom. flips, kicks, punches, a lot of super kicks.
Yes.
I think there were like 4 in the first minute of the actual match.
Yeah.
And not just 4 because there were 3 of them doing it at the same time, but like 4 sets of.
Yeah. I think their highest score in the match is like almost 30.
Wow.
Like their super kicks are like Brock Lesnar German suplex.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Or just a really fun match. And the commenting, because I don't think commentating is a word.
Yeah, I don't think it is either.
The commentators were interesting. I mean, no Jim Ross, but they were witty. They kept it moving. They kept up with the energy of the match.
Yeah.
Which sometimes that's all you can ask, is that they try.
Yeah.
And they tried.
Yeah, at least they tried. They probably didn't get paid much.
Probably not at all.
I don't get. We have these elite level athletes, elite wrestlers, one of the top talents in wrestling. You have them wrestling in a bingo hall. Like, you would think to match the talent they're watching in the ring, everything surrounding that would be not necessarily an arena or a stadium or whatever. It could be like one of those small arenas, like that, like a UNO arena, like
yeah,
that
like
size.
Lakeside. Yeah.
Something like that can like hold a couple, maybe like couple thousand people. Not because I mean it'll get filled up quick when you got matches like this going on, other matches on the card.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. They love being small, and they said like we don't have any plans on expanding stuff like that because they like the intimate vibe that it gets. I'm like, I don't know. It just takes one wrestler diving on somebody and hurting someone for this to all go bad.
There was no separation between the crowd and the outside of the ring.
Yeah. Which, I mean, people there, they probably are okay if
they expected it.
I mean, yeah. But nothing really happened. No one got hit. I mean, it's okay because there was no blood in this match. So it's okay.
Yeah, it was a clean match.
Yeah. So.
But when I see someone wrestling in like a bingo hall or like the parking lot of a strip mall or something, which is where the Mike Levy thing happened, I expect people that like were wrestlers in high school or college, like they peaked at a school level, and they are they can do wrestling, but they're not good. Like, I expect a bunch of backyard, like, dads and, here's my uncle. I don't expect like actual athletes at like the peak of their careers, or nearing the peak of their careers.
Let's say there's probably, I want to say, realistically we could say with like 10,000, at least 10,000 wrestlers in America, or like North America at least, and there's only like 2-3 big promotions in the world. There's WWE, New Japan, then below that is Ring of Honor, below that is Impact, I guess, Impact Wrestling. But everything below that is pretty like borderline backyard, borderline like local arena type stuff. So I'm like, yeah, most people have to wrestle in those conditions. So
it's just disappointing because we don't know what we're missing. There could be like some of the greatest wrestling matches ever going on in the middle of like bumfuck Arkansas.
There might be their own little type of Brock Lesnar and John Cena there, and we don't even know.
And we're missing
they're
out.
Too dumb to expose themselves on the internet. They don't know what the internet is to brand themselves, and we never go there.
Does Arkansas have internet?
That's a good question. That is a great question. I have to look that up.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, there was a lot of documentaries talking, showing how a lot of wrestlers are really good, but back in the day before they didn't have like the small wrestling promotions that you could make a living off of without having to go anywhere else. It was like they tried to make it to WWE, but they just couldn't quite get there. They were missing something. They didn't have good enough moveset, didn't have a good enough body, or it just didn't fit the mold that they were trying to create there. And I'm like, oh, that's sad. Because you're good, not good enough. God, story of my life.
Which is why we're starting NGW.
Yeah.
Cross promoting.
Okay. And
I'm sorry.
it's okay. No, don't apologize. Take no prisoners, Sam. We got next week though. Next week.
Next
what
week.
do you want to watch?
None of these guys have Sydal.
Yeah, he was in WWE.
He has a little bit of WWE experience,
He's there.
but the others don't really. I know Ricochet doesn't.
Ricochet, no, he's on a path to go though eventually in a year.
That's good.
Ospreay probably be there in 5 years. Adam Cole could be there. anytime now. The Young Bucks, one of the Young Bucks was in WWE, but he only had like 2 or 3 matches and he lost. He just got squashed by the Big Show. Yeah, they were like a couple minute matches, and then he got released. Yeah. So yeah, I don't really have WWE followings, but I have the New Japan streaming service. So if you're interested in any of them,
Sure.
we can do that. But if you want to watch a different match or something unrelated to this, we do that as well.
I don't know. I want to see some New Japan, I guess. Do you have anything you could recommend from that?
Yes, I do.
Oh dear, I don't like his smile.
It's so good. It's so good. Okay, my favorite wrestler right now, Kenny Omega. He is.
That's an American sounding name.
Yeah, he's from Canada, but
Close enough.
Yeah, I mean Canada's America.
It's North America.
Yeah, so there you go. Kenny Omega versus Okada Kazuchika. Wrestle Kingdom 11 happened this January 4th. It got rated 5 star. I mean not 5 stars, 6 stars out of a 5-star scale.
That's not
by
math.
Dave Meltzer. He's like the biggest critic journalist in wrestling, most credible one, and most I look at his ratings to determine which match I feel like watching on a certain day. We rated this 5 stars. It has to be good. Sometimes it's not always 5-star level, and some matches like Triple H Hell in a Cell match was not 5 stars. The Brock Lesnar Triple Threat wasn't 5 stars.
That probably should have been.
It should have been. And I'm like, well, that's like the greatest wrestling match I've ever seen. Tied with probably this one though. So yeah, it's probably easier to give you the Daily Motion link because it's hard navigating a almost completely Japanese website. I mean, they have some English translation, but it's broken English, so you really.
I'm used to it.
Oh, okay.
I've studied Japanese history and culture.
Okay, but it should be good enough for you to get into. But
cool.
Yeah, Kenny Omega, he's my favorite. His character is kind of partially based off of Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII, and his theme song is like kind of a ripoff of his of Sephiroth's boss music, which I find cool. Yeah, he's really popular in Japan. Maybe one day he'll grace himself in WWE. I don't know. It's a really cool match though, about 50 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, look forward to that. All you people, you could watch that too. You comment, you could like or dislike the video. You can do that. Definitely a possibility. And then you can definitely subscribe if you haven't already. So, any final words, Sam?
Nope.
Great. Goodbye.
Bye.